Did the stream die? Of course the stream died. Yeah, says it. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if anybody saw that or not. It doesn't really matter. Okay, well, you probably missed the tree on fire, but that's fine. I posted it on the Facebook page anyway. It doesn't matter. So, oh, wait a minute. Why is this showing this? Hold on a second. All right. Well, enough of that. Of course, now I can't get it to go at all. What else is new? Anyway, if you're watching, great. If not, no big deal. So these ribbons are all going to be colored ribbons. Oh, and I don't. Well, the thing is, I think that the big X is on the other side of her tail. So let's see. Yeah, I've noticed that Facebook doesn't do the autoplay thing as well as it used to. Well, let's get the tail colored. Well, I'm worrying about the... Some things are just what they are. Like the tail is going to be sort of this green color. In fact, this is actually a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more colorful of a green. And I suppose part of the fun too with drawing this is that her hair is sort of mimicking the, let's see. Is that, let's see. At least it came back. So anyway. Yeah. Uh-huh. Alright, well, what, you're hungry? Really? Seriously? Alright, I'll come up with something in a minute. My little hobbit in there with his second, third breakfast and fourth and fifth dinner. Although I admit I did make dinner much earlier in the day. Yeah, I swear he's British. He wants his high tea and low tea and mid tea and afternoon tea and fuck it, I'm hungry tea and every other type of tea in between. So let's see. Now, if I were to really sort of follow the rule, well, not the rule, what I'd do is I'd want her to have a hair color that would fade to this green so that the tips were green to sort of go along with, see what I'm saying? And you'll notice that here I can get some texture. I mean, her tail and her hide is not smooth, okay? At least in dragon form. I will not think about the concept of smoothness for her human form. That's for you guys to think about, if you want to. adjust the. Anyway, what I should do is I should tip her hair in a greenish tip. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. You want that greenish for the tip. Just not sure which green yet. I might go with a darker. You want it to be closer, which would mean that in the reverse, you'd have sort of a dullish color. It would shade to, and then you'd have a much more vibrant color for the main base, which would be cool, I think. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, standard two-tone sort of hair going. Let's see here. Nice thing about the Copics is that you can do so much layering with the colors. Use the same color, and I mean, you can literally have one marker and do quite a bit with it. I think that's the thing a lot of people don't realize with the Copics. Is that, I mean, the darker colors is a little harder to do that, but if you have one of the lighter, colors, you can, sort of use it in layers to do an awful lot of work. Get an awful lot of range. You don't really need tons of them to do it. I mean, to do full color works and type of stuff I do, you kind of need a good selection, but let's see. First you have to be careful because you got to watch for it to dry and stuff. Alright. I could just give her pink hair with green tips. That'd be fun. Alright, I need a cleaner piece of paper to use as a base. So much crappy scrap paper everywhere. I end up with half of Jack's homework and shit in here. SpongeBob, Patrick, crap like that. So much in here. It's not working. So that's where that came from, I think. Alright, here we go. Alright. Oh, 2:30 a.m. over there, so yeah. Well, Sarah did something silly earlier. She's working till 10 tonight. Let me go and pick her up. But she was, they needed her, they asked her to come in, if they could come in at 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning to help with stock work. And so she agreed to do it. And then after she got off the phone, she realized that we moved the clocks ahead tonight. So she just agreed to go and work at 5 a.m. It's not funny. So, one of those days, one of those weeks. Just okay. Anyway, Zilla's sort of base colors here. Actually, I almost feel like I need to get more gray in here. It's almost too lifelike because the tail doesn't look very zombified to me right now. But yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Another thing, I'm a big fan of Mike Mignolia's work. The guy did Hellboy. I don't know if you're familiar with Hellboy at all. And Hellboy is an interesting comic. It's not, doesn't really fit into a lot of the preconceptions or standards of typical American superhero type comics, which is probably one reason why I like them. I've never been able to get into most American comics. I've tried. Not that there isn't quality. There's a lot of quality there. Just typical sort of angles of stories just don't grab me that much. So, really, there was a I'm sure. Well, I can tell you it wasn't a successful one because I don't remember printing that many of them. Oh well, it happens. So, but anyway, one of the things that I always sort of jealous of Magnolia's ability to draw monsters, and I mean really interesting, sort of graphically interesting monsters that had a lot of personality to them, which is something that I've looked at, and I haven't tried to emulate it because I can't. I mean, you can't emulate that sort of thing, but had some influence on me in the background somewhere, at least in designing Zom. There's definitely a little bit of thinking about the way that the crenulations in the skin and the hide show up. Definitely was something that I picked up a little bit of how Mike Magnolia does it. So. Well, the problem with the store is in order to zero, I'd have to go in and I'd have to zero out every single one of the shirts and every single one of the sizes. It'd probably take me about a month to do. I started to do it, but yeah, that's better. A very Calvin and Hobbes-ish sort of drawing. I wonder when I did that. I wonder if I did that with Copic or if I did it with pen and marker. I can't remember. No, well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I probably want to. This is where I hit it with the. I think Jack's watching Minecraft videos again. Alright. I guess I must have lost something when people tuned into this. What did I do here? Oh, there we go. Now, if I could just decide on the... Oh, yeah, I got some of those... Obviously, the Band-Aids on the fingers would be Band-Aids, so let's do those properly. So... I do want to give her a particularly fun hair, I guess. Well, this is where you sort of start making some decisions and you just go with them and see where they turn up. Although, honestly, what I could do is I could print out another one and experiment, which is another thing I could do. I mean, I can use some cheaper paper. Yeah, here it is. Where's that loose? Yeah. See, this stuff is actually the same paper, but it's a lighter weight. So, alright, hang on a second. These are the same color. It just doesn't really work for... So let's see here. Who's the idiot who comes out with these drawing ideas? Come on. Alright, fine. Fuck it. Find it this way. We gotta find the, it's gotta spin up the drive 1 second. So, Well, I suppose it's one way of doing it. Let's print out another one. Hopefully I won't either. Well, it doesn't matter. It'll work fine. Alright, so I can wait to get a print going if it's gonna print. Oh shoot, I need a cart. Or I will soon. That's good. You gotta love a town where the local newspaper every week tweets a list of foreclosures in your local area. I mean, nothing says wonderful things about your small town like weekly list of foreclosures and purchasing opportunities. That's Michigan. Alright, let's see. I'm just waiting for this thing to print. Because, yeah, I've got some options. One of the things I want to do, and I could sort of do it here, is if I have sort of a pink bow. Do I go with a pink bow and lavender hair, and then green tips? Because the green tips will definitely need to happen. I'll have to do that there, so. Oh well, like I said, I'm gonna have to draw. I'm not sure how that'll work, but I think I can do it. I'll have to draw Gamaru. Although he's supposedly the unfortunate brother. So you see, the thing about Zilla is that Zilla's a girl, always has been. So it's only natural that she'd be transformed like this. I don't really feel like drawing Turtle Man in human form. That would be kind of creepy. Let's see. Alright. Like I said, I'm just waiting for this. I'm printing out another one so that I can sort of look at some coloring options, and that's what. This guy, you mean Zomzom here? Let's see. But anyway, let me see. Because I could just give her pink hair. Pink hair would be cool. But pink, you know, some of it comes down as to what's going to come out to the YG and the. So YG 91, YG 93, which. Oh, wait a minute. So I was using the putty. That's right. So the tips would definitely come back in from YG 93 to gray sky a little bit. Not quite. I probably need to use another green. So. No, wrong kind of green. This is where things get a little dicey as you start working with. You don't have quite the range that you need So what you have to do is you have to fudge it, you know. And if you're lucky, fudging it doesn't result in fucking it up. There we go. So what I'll do is I'll take a stab at it on this copy. And oh, and true, I do have to color the switch in the proper colors too. Okay. So what would go back from the green? Let's see. Okay, so sometimes one thing to do is just sort of work on the side here and try to, because the putty is what I used as the base for the tail. So if I'm doing her tips in that color, the tips would be where you'd sort of start. You could have the darker points of the tips come in like this. Now, scaling back from that's the challenge, because I don't really have a lighter green. So what I'm going to have to do is go into whatever color works. And I could go into, there's a lot of different yellows, so if I give her a blonde hair scheme of some sort, yeah, fiddlesticks. I mean, the thing is that you can have some really odd colors that you might not choose initially, but really, of course, this, let's see, what is this? This is YR20. Do I have a refill for this? Oh, shit. I don't. Yeah, I do. Phew. Okay. I hate it when you sort of balance out a, let's see. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mr. McGrack, for your kind words about the artwork stuff. This one didn't turn out too bad. It's a little sketchy. I think that I probably could have gone in and put some more effort in it. I mean, the stupid things about a lot of this art is that sometimes the cleanup, I could go through and I could redraw them, but they have a certain energy of their own like this, and there's a certain level of things that works. Now, with that, would it be pink that would work best, or would a sort of lavender work best? Because it's odd with the way colors work together sometimes. I do like that hair color though. I am going to have to refill this though, because that YR20 does need, and oh, that nib needs to be replaced. Look at, dang it. Looks like there's still a lot of color in there, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of color. I mean, one of the things that happens sometimes when you're working with this stuff is just that you can sort of get a sense of the flow as you're putting it down. I mean, it's almost a tactile thing. I know it sounds weird, but and that nib, it's fucked. So I'm just going to replace the nib. Let's see, you gonna zombie her out. Any bruises or zombie style disfigurements? No. You gotta remember, I've got a more Psychono approach to the whole zombie beauty thing. Okay. And here's a odd note, historical note about me and Megatokyo and other things. I personally have never liked, enjoyed, or frankly even watched any zombie films before. It was sort of a Rodney thing. And here I am, I've got all these zombie characters, and it's a very core part of my comic, which is really ironic. So thank you, Rod, for that. But it works. I mean, you sort of absorb things that you aren't initially into, and well, that's E50. What's YR20? Where did I pull that one out? Oh, here it is. losing my head. That's one of the big things I always sort of worry about is that if you grab the wrong color and the next thing you know you put the... So I always do sort of that cross check, you know, sort of like at the hospital where they check your birth date and they check your armband and make sure that you are the person who's supposed to get said drug into, you know, put into your system instead of accidentally juicing you up with the wrong stuff and whatnot. Alright, so here we go. Let's fill this stupid thing. Since I'm going to use this for her base hair color, I might as well get it right. Not that getting it right has ever been part of my modus operandi for anything. Art is not about getting things right and done spectacularly the first time, and art is all about fucking it up continuously and just keeping it rolling along and trying to fix your fuck-ups to the point that you can stop and get away with it. I mean, that's what art's all about. Hey. Punk kid. Fuck it, I'm gonna have a cookie. No. That says I didn't put enough ink in it. Well, actually it's coming. It's like watching paint dry. So anyway, okay, I think I've got, which means, I mean, it's nice to think that you can go through and test it and do some other testing. The truth is that the best way to approach these things for me is figure out what you want to do and then just do it. And I mean, it's almost a kind of part of the process, you know, because the indecisiveness that you can have when doing things digitally, I think, is one of the things that always stymied me. And I always ended up making the safer choices. I have this tendency of doing that, you know, I'll sort of fudge things around and always try to find the right one, and then in the end I always pick the safest choice, which, I don't know. I mean, some of the more interesting stuff I've come up with over the years, I think, was just done because I just had to get it done, and that's what I was doing, and I had to work with it. And in fact, Mega Tokyo itself, I mean, if you really look at some of the storylines, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people I know, a lot of comic artists I know who, over the years, they work with the comics and what they're making, and they want to go back and redo it. They want to restart over, and they want to organize things better. And I don't know. I don't think that's a good approach to things, because I think that part of what you lose when you go back and you try to, you know, that the things that will make your comic kind of interesting are the spontaneity things that you just do. And it's funny how you sometimes end up with something that you're committed to that was almost a haphazard decision and wasn't fully thought out per se. But it's amazing how in the long run some of those little haphazard decisions become real story fodder or real strong elements to whatever it is you're working on. And if you are constantly going back and fixing errors and changing things back and deciding that nope, that's not right, I want to do this, and I think you're removing some of your, you know, your opportunities, future opportunities. Because there's, that's what, the other thing is retconning, going back and changing something because it doesn't fit with what you want to do. I think that's, I wouldn't call it cop-out. I mean, it's one way of writing. It's done a lot. And maybe you've got a real strong idea that doing a retcon on it that's where you go back and change what happened in the past to fit what you want to do in the future. But the thing is that the biggest challenge you have sometimes is when you write yourself into a corner on something, and instead of going, oh shit, the hell with it, it's an opportunity to be creative. And sometimes, I've had things come out of conundrums that ended up being some of the strongest things in the comic. So I don't know, and it's just depends. There's for some others it might make sense to do things a little, let's see. A more organized way of writing. Well, actually, a more professional way of writing. You can be a bullshit artist like me and just wing everything. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Terry Pratchett and his rather delightful novels, but if I was anyway, my writing style would be fit within the realm of Moise van Lipwyk and the way that he lives his life. It's very much just winged. And the more chaotic it is, the more happy he is with things. So, let's see. Where's her weight? Am I seeing that correctly? What are you seeing correctly? Well, I'll leave it to you to decide what you're seeing correctly. If it's... Oh boy. This is where it's kind of the fun of... It's another problem I have with digital art in general. Not the outcome of it. I'm just saying for myself to work with it. There's nothing wrong. Honestly, I wish I was a better digital artist. I think being a good digital artist requires a lot of planning. You kind of have to have a sense of where you want to go and how to get there. So a lot of times the things you're doing are progressive toward a point. The way I work, I have to see the process. It has to be a progressive thing. I can't start with something that doesn't look anything like the direction you're going, knowing that at some point you'll flip a few things around and tweak a few things, and then all of a sudden, voila, you have this really beautifully rendered thing. I just can't do that. I've tried. Planning doesn't work for me. So, did I guess I did provide for one last lock down there. There we go. And Yuki's got a beanbag chair in the background there and stuff. Gosh. And you notice that even though I warmed up, now, what's happened, Rapier, is that this is, Zamzam has been taught how to transform herself, and a la Dragon Maid style, and this is what she did. Now, unlike Dragon Maid, where the dragons have scales that they can sort of make their own clothing with, Zam does not have any scales, just a hide, so unfortunately she can't create any clothing. So what you're seeing is what she was wearing, for starters. I know, terrible cop-out, but... So, yeah, don't worry. Any other drawings of her will have her with appropriate garments. And Yuki, being Yuki, will be quite capable of dressing her properly. If you were a 200-foot tall or a 60-foot tall Zilla created by atomic fallout, could blast things with fireballs from your mouth, I don't think you'd really worry about pants too much, to be honest with you. One thing, though, Rapier, is that Zamzam is female, always has been, always was a girl. Wasn't really something that showed at all, but even from the beginning, she was always a female character. So in the transformation stuff, this is very straightforward. There's no actual gender bending going on here. Just species bending, I guess you call it. Now, of course, you still don't want to get bitten by her, so Yuki will have to be careful. And I think that when it comes to sometimes just going ahead with an idea and taking a color and just going with it like this, what you end up with is that you're not just selling others on the idea, you're selling yourself on it, which means you work it until it either works or it doesn't work. Got a half hour. Okay. Go for it, dude. Oh, come on. Are you alright, Jack? Don't fall down the stairs, please. Please?
Well, somehow I just fell.
You fell where? Did you fall up the stairs or down the stairs?
I just fell.
Please don't throw yourself down the stairs.
I'm okay.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
Alright. Alright, 1 second. Sorry. Let's see. Alright, so okay, so I can do the green thing here. So I'll have to burn out the tips a little bit. What I'll do is I don't know. Somebody wasn't paying attention. Let's see here. So it's funny because I've just given, Kimiko in the last Bomber Girl one that I did. Well, yeah, not the last one I did, but one of the recent ones, where she has the burned out. Her locks are tipped with red. Sorry if this is going a bit slow here. I had to make some decisions about things. Now I'm sort of plowing forward with them. We'll see where they go. Now frost her tips is all along the way. Why not? Any hair end that she's got is going to be a variant of some sort. Because I still haven't decided what color to make the... Unfortunately, I think with this hair, the way this is working out, pink might be the best choice, but we'll see. I'm not sure whether lavender might work. The trouble with lavender and that olive drab is it actually doesn't work quite as well as pink might because of the, the tertiary nature of color opposites. Okay, so now see if this will work. I don't even need that. I'm not sure putty's it. Yeah. No. Where is it? Well. What did I use as in tertiary though? As usual. It's a little 91, 93. Let's see. actually, I guess it does work when you layer it on top. Trouble with some markers is that they, you know, just on white they're pretty strong, but when you start to put them on other layers, on other colors, like you'll notice. I mean, look at how strong it appears just on white. But then when you put it on something that's already, you've already put color down to darken things up, it is just about the right density to work. So yeah, once I get the tail colored in, that'll hold together a little better. And her hair is the way that it tips out like this, and with its feathering. That's the word. Oh my god, there's a term from my teenage years. Feathering of hair. It's totally what she's got going on here. I also want to give her tips. So she's got the lighter hair with the darker tips, which is kind of an interesting reversal, but it works. Oops. Nice thing about if you do enough of this, you can get away with not coloring the lines properly because the rest of my artwork is so sloppy that it fits. Let's see. Layered or feathered, yeah. So now that's what she's got going here. She's got some feathering going on. So kind of the 70s, early 80s feathering, along with the very current gradient ends. Actually got some interesting different hairstyles I try to do with Mega Tokyo. Haven't really had a chance to show. I've always done, whenever I've colored Junko's hair, I've always shown that she has a very bright underlayer going, which she hasn't have yet in the comic, but she will. I've been doing that for a long time now. Yep, Farrah Fawcett, that's the name. I don't know. No idea if this is looking right or not. Okay, so now I need to move to the darker color. So this is the YG91. Now we go with the grayish yellow. Why not? Alright, let's see. 9:12. I got 15 minutes and I gotta head out of here. I'll be back. Do more color on later, but I don't have the microphone on. Trouble with extending I think one mistake I've made here, and this is gonna be a challenge to fix. I'm gonna have to get some more green on here at the tips, because the one trouble with layering the yellow and the green is to this level is that you'll notice that it's giving me sort of, their tips are more brown than they are green, which is not quite the effect I was looking for. So I'm probably going to have to take a deeper green and layer on top. Let's see. Which is fine. That's one of the challenges of this is that taking, remember, artwork is not about doing it right the first time. It's fixing your continual fuck-ups as you go. And then somehow ending with something that you can say, I meant to do that. But the tips thing is sort of working because you're getting, and I don't know if you've noticed too, and I don't know if it really shows in the color, but the more you deepen and darken some elements of it, when you have a color like that, when we first put that yellowish orange down, the you know, it seemed pretty bright and pretty dark, but the more I work on these tips, you'll notice that even in here it's starting to, by contrast, appear very light, and that's very kind of normal for the way these things sort of a tendency to work. And I'm going to probably throw some, yeah, I'll definitely throw something a little bit more vibrant on there. And this is where I get to really fuck things up. Let's see. And yeah, our Europeans are slowly fading away here. Well, it is getting dark. It is getting late. Okay, so now this is where we get to see how bad that fucks things up. We throw some more green on here. Deeper green. Now this is a pretty bright green, and you'll notice it doesn't even, I mean, it's just not going to overpower that yellow at all. I mean, it's subtle, you know, and you'll see little bits of it. And this is where the pigments and the Copics are really interesting. And one thing, the scans never ever pick up everything. It's very noticeable. That's why actually having the, if you do, the people who have purchased originals of these can attest that the colors that come out of the Copics are usually something that don't really pick up well on the scans. I mean, you do the best I can to catch them, but there's a certain amount of gamut that on the dang things that the scanner just can't pick up properly. And I mean, that's just the nature of scanning. It's not necessarily a nature. There's just a nature to the pigments that there's a lot of subtlety in how the light hits it that doesn't really scan well. So, yeah. So let's see. This is where I can say just the hell with it. Let's see what happens, eh? One thing about hair is never just a single color. It's always a combination of lots and lots of colors. You'll find blues and yellows and oranges and all sorts of, even in the simplest of hair. It's just the nature of the way hair works. So, HP Bright White. HP Bright White is the type of paper that I use for drawing usually. It's inkjet paper is what it is. It's a bright white inkjet paper. It's archival. I've been working on bright white inkjet paper ever since I started Mega Tokyo. It's real good to draw on, and it's pretty robust. Oops. There, my phone ring. Now this right here is not bright white inkjet paper. This is Epson's Ultra Premium Presentation Paper Matte. That's what this is. Now, this is where I sort of mix things up a little. Since I've got a stronger, this is a much stronger orange yellow that I can pop in here. Let me try to catch some of that. Bring that out a little bit more, make it stronger. This particular color orange has a, what is it? It's lightning yellow. Well, yeah, it's got a bit of a glow to it, so that's fine. It's sort of missing. There we go. Color is such a subjective thing. Kind of hard to really grasp it properly. Let's see if I can adjust it a little better. Adjust the gain a little bit. Get a sense of what I'm doing here. Alright. I can zoom out later. No, okay, now and then you step away from it, you look back. Let's see, I need to. It's a little too warm. There we go. That looks about right. Okay. I don't know. This is not what I was planning. But that's all right. That's rarely happens anyway. You know, and you can sort of explore and sort of touch out some. Maybe this goes a little bit more red for some reason. I mean, for the anime, I mean, it's a much more simple gradient that they have going. You know, here I'm actually starting to develop something a little bit more complicated than that, which maybe is good, maybe is not, I don't know. Anyway, she's got a lot more life. It's almost like her hair is sort of a mix between the scaling out of things and then maybe being a bit of the fire branding that she's capable of doing. Okay, what was I doing? That was a fire 20. I can mix with this a little bit. Okay, I guess that's sort of working. Now, if there are any balls at all, hit it with this one for the absolute outer tips. I mean, it's kind of sad. All I've done is I've done her skin tone and her hair tone in this past 2 hours. I mean, that's pretty pathetic. But at least it sort of works. Let's see. So has Hamilton bitten the heads off of any young drivers yet? Keep waiting for that to happen. red at the tip would be hard because it's already dark to a point of watch this crap. Once again, stuff nobody will ever see unless they actually own the drawing, but whatever. You need a pretty strong red. I don't know if I have an art. That'll probably fit in there. This really should be more in shadow, so. No, if I have a 65, there we go. Yeah, there's some kind of crazy coloring going on in there, but that's okay. That's fine. Sometimes a multicultural, multi-layer. I don't know if Ferrari can pull it off. It'd be nice. If the only reason Ferrari's going to do well is because Red Bull can't get their engine crap together, which would be a real shame. Because their drivers certainly are up to it. It's going to be kind of a pisser for them. I'm going to spend the whole year feeling bad for Bottas. Poor bastard. Yeah, it does sort of seem like that Toru's a little bit, doesn't it? Which is fine. Yeah, I know, preseason testing, but I'm just saying it's kind of shitty that Red Bull can't, because of the engine thing. It sucks. Hopefully they'll get that resolved. I'm a big Ferrari fan, but I don't think they've earned it yet. I don't think they're on the path to earning it yet, but we'll see. Maybe they will. Are they really? Well, maybe they got their shit together this year. Sorry, I'm sitting here talking Formula One crap, which I shouldn't be doing, sorry. Well, Ferrari should have been doing better last year. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Okay. Something's still not right there, but at least it's a hair color. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop now because I'm gonna have to go pick up Sarah from work. So, which was actually just an act of kindness tonight because I know she's got to work at 5 a.m. tomorrow. So, she's only gonna get a little bit of time tonight. Alright, I'm gonna be back. Not gonna have the mic on later, but I will be back and I will continue to work on this. It's not too bad, I don't think. I think it's getting somewhere. I think. My delusional self thinks so. Although I'll probably come back and just want to rip the whole thing up. That's normal too. So anyway, thank you for listening. Sorry for a week of things being a bit off kilter because of the storm. And I mean, I was offline for, let's see, I didn't stream on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So 3 days. 3 days. Did I stream on Tuesday? I don't even remember. Tuesday, I think I was off because